Hey, what's up? What's up?
What's
Uh,
going on?
hey, nothing much. Hey, as the key that we're just getting back used to it, I forgot the whole intro.
Well,
no,
look, hey man,
so
hey, look,
hey, but we're here.
we're here. You know, I mean, I will say, hey, you know what it is? It's R&J Fantasy Football Talk. I'm Rodney and it's Jay, but hey, we got to get back into the groove of things. We take months off and then we slide back up, but we're here. Let's have some fun. I mean, nothing too serious tonight. We just gonna play a little catch up on what we missed, or we
Yeah,
didn't miss it, or what we talked about on the show. So we just gonna get here and we gonna just vibe out like we always do, man. You know how it is, man. Nothing too crazy. But first of all, how have you been? I know how you been, but let the people know how you been.
hey, it's been good. Y'all do know that I won a championship last season, so we here celebrating up in Baltimore the championship that I well deserved in the barbershop league after many years of trying finally reaching the top. And of course, our producers been celebrating the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl.
Woohoo!
So it's been championship city over here. But things are going well. Things are going well. Getting back into, like you said, getting back into the mix of it. Welcome Orlando Lewis to the show. Good to have you there watching with us, faithful fan. But yeah, it's been good. I am very much just getting back really into a bunch of fantasy football stuff. So I'm excited for this. We'll be talking about this off season that's been crazy with a capital K. How about you? How's life treating you, my brother?
I can't complain, man. It's good. I'm just trying to get back in the flow of fantasy. It ain't gonna take me long because once I get
Right.
going,
We've been doing
it's
this for
like
years.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like riding a bike, man. It ain't that hard. So trying to get back on my winning streak that I lost last year, but I'm
Yeah,
just
yeah.
trying to work my way back to that. So
But
other
hey,
than that,
like you said, we know why you did not continue your winning streak.
oh, of course, yeah,
Every time there's a newborn in your household, your fantasy season go down
down the
tremendously.
drain.
So, but
But
hey,
hey, it was funny. I was on the phone. I think I was
yeah,
talking to Keith, and we was talking about football fantasy actually. And he was I had him in my hands and he was smiling, he was giggling. I was like, "Don't worry about it, son. You'll be here when you're about 10 with your own fantasy team." He said, 10 at 10? I said, "Yeah. You
yeah,
can let him run his why not? They
exactly.
started
You
young." I
got
said, "You
got
might
to
as well."
start them early so you know what to do.
Hey, at 10 years old, hey, you got to get them right. Just
Look,
pick your own team, set your lineup.
somebody
So
has to continue the fantasy football dynasty.
you got to believe it. So, hey, man. Other than
Uh,
that, it's been going good, man. Just daily working and taking care of the kids. You know how it is. Nothing too crazy. I don't try to
nothing
get it
too
nothing too crazy anyway. So,
Nothing as crazy as tonight's game. As y'all can see, I got my Bulls jersey up and on, ready for this playing. How do you feel about the playing games?
I think it's whack.
Yeah,
That's not to me. Is not a
yeah,
true form of making the playoffs. It's like you giving a dying team a chance
yeah.
when they don't deserve it. Like we're the 10th seed. We don't really deserve to be in this.
Nah,
If you go back into the 90s, early 2000s, where it was 8 teams and that was it. You know what I mean? It wasn't okay. You the eighth, ninth, 10th team, the 11th. You got a chance to make it. No, you're under 500 for a reason.
right.
You're not that good. So I mean, and then they want certain teams in there. I guess that's why they go to this thing. I'm gonna be
Exactly.
honest with you. I haven't watched a whole basketball game in years.
Yeah,
It's been some years, and it's only one reason why. But I mean, I'm not a big LeBron fan, and I'm not a big the way the league is going. It's too soft. I'm an
yeah,
'80s baby, man. '90s is where you can get fouled and nobody cried. These guys be whining and stuff. So uh,
yeah.
it
They
it
they
is what it
they're
is.
practically regulated defense out of the game. So
Yeah,
they had the stat that no team this entire season has scored less than 80 points, and it's the first time that's happened to since 1969, and it's nice to see all the points because people love scoring, But at the same time, we grew
Ain't no
up.
defense.
If you was in that, if you know those bad boys, Pistons, those Knicks teams from the '90s, the Heat, the Bulls, that when they were good with Jordan, defense won championships, and it was always the East Coast teams at least had strong defense. You might see the West Coast teams run wild, but defense was what made the NBA great, and it's gone. And so right now, to me, it's like a glorified 3-point shooting contest.
Pretty much.
Still can be entertaining at times, but yeah, I feel you. I'm not. I'm not as big in NBA as I used to be.
The thing is, they allow them to travel.
Yeah.
And I mean, they take about 5, 6 steps, man. And I'm like,
what is this? Gather step?
Yeah, like you don't see that, the whole gather, then step back and then take another step. And I'm like, man, come on, that is a pure travel back in the day. Yeah, but then look at it like, I mean, I seen a guy on a fast break take 6 steps, and they didn't call it, and they just let him because they want him to dunk, they wanted the highlight reels, they want the fans to go crazy. That's not basketball to me, so I don't get it. But that's enough about that.
Enough of us talk about the old way things with the old men on the part, talk about how it was back in our days.
Yeah, let's talk some.
So let's go back to football.
Let's go. First of all, I want to say I feel bad for you. First of all, I feel bad.
Start tonight.
I mean, might as well get it out of the way. We're gonna get it out of the way. We're gonna let it ride from there. I'm gonna give you your time. Not much, but I'm gonna give you your time. Jimmy G. Everybody know my feel how I feel about Jimmy G. Now it's your turn to feel how I feel. Now I just want to say I'm sorry as a brother who I love. I love my brother, but at the end of the day, I feel bad for you because you got to feel my pain now. Jimmy G is on your team as your quarterback. I need to know how you truly feel about the situation.
Well, going back to what we're doing today, we're back and we're talking football, and there's been a lot of offseason moves, and of course that would be the offseason move you want to talk with. The Raiders have parted ways with Derek Carr. He's out in New Orleans reuniting with his old coach, Dennis Allen. And Jimmy Garoppolo is now the quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders, reuniting with his old coach, Josh McDaniels. And this was the most predictable offseason move just because the one thing that never clicked between Derek Carr and Josh McDaniels is this Patriot system. The Raiders are now Patriots West, and Derek Carr didn't fit. His skill set doesn't fit into what Josh McDaniels wants this to be. So I actually am going to be slightly optimistic in the fact that and I've said this on the show many times, Josh McDaniels is a systems guy. He believes in his system more than he believes in players. So he finally has a quarterback who knows his system. So there are no excuses when this inevitably goes into the toilet because we'll be able to say, hey, the coach got the players he wanted. He got all the we got Danny Amendola as an assistant coach. We've got everything Patriot-like you could possibly imagine. And so if we win 3 games this year, I'm not going to be too sad about it because I did not like Josh McDaniels coming in, and I'm sadly rooting for this to go in the pot. However, if it doesn't, I will send my apology letter to Josh McDaniels, and I would say, hey, your system must be that good because you made Jimmy G look like a great quarterback. I'm not holding my breath waiting for that to happen. But, hey, we'll see. Hey, I say this. I think, in theory, Jimmy G should look better with Las Vegas than he did with Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers. Even though we don't have the defense to back him up and make him win games when he throws 0 touchdowns.
Yeah, okay.
This is his system. And so we can see how good he is in the system that's pretty much designed for his skill set. I feel bad for Devontae Adams more than anybody else. But
well,
as
I would
a Raiders
say
fan, we'll see how it goes.
I feel like Jimmy, I ain't going to say he's going to do better. I think Jimmy probably will be more comfortable because I think he gets more of an opportunity to actually throw the football Carroll kind of kept him in a safe space
Mm-hmm.
where it was cross the middle. But I think that's his game, though. I think
Yeah.
his game is short, cross the middle. I think, like you say, Devontae Adams, they're gonna have to shorten the game up
Yeah. His
route
routes
wise
can't be that deep.
For Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
But I think also I think the real Jimmy's gonna show up because you don't have that defense. You don't have the safety blanket at tight end, which I don't understand why y'all got rid of Darren Waller, but that's a whole nother story.
You didn't know? Darren Waller got married to Kelsey Plummer, go Aces, and they didn't invite Josh McDaniels to the wedding.
So
So
he traded him?
he's like,
That
"You're out
doesn't
of
make any
here."
sense.
I,
Okay.
I didn't get an invite. You don't get to stay on the team. I'm pretty sure that
Okay.
was the logic behind it.
I mean, that's fine. If you feel like that's the logic, okay, I give you that. But like, yeah, you took away, even though he does not play a lot of games, I will say that.
No.
He missed a lot of games, but he would when he's right, he's really good. He was
Yeah.
a safety blanket, and he needed that. So I think the real Jimmy's going to show up now. I don't know how long he keeps the job because I feel like y'all going to draft a quarterback
Inevitably. Yeah.
at some point this in the draft this year, and I
Maybe
think
later.
Jimmy
Yeah.
going to be looking. I ain't gonna say
Well,
he's gonna be looking over his back because he has a really good contract, but I think at some point he's gonna get benched.
well, we know it's Jimmy. He's gonna get hurt. All
That's
right.
it. I mean, I won't go say that,
He's
but
gonna
that's
get
true.
hurt in week 8, 9, and then we'll see what happens after that. But we'll let the good times roll while the good times roll. But putting it into fantasy perspective, do you think Jimmy G is a startable quarterback? QB1, QB2 for your fantasy football teams. What kind of numbers do you think he can put up?
I'm gonna say this. When Derek Carr was there in our league, Derek Carr was going in the eighth round, seventh, eighth round, somewhere around there. He was a third quarterback. I think Jimmy is a third quarterback only because he's gonna start, obviously.
No.
I don't think he gets benched. I think he loses his job because of injury, but I don't think he gets benched. So I see him as more of a backup in a two quarterback system. Well, if you're running two quarterbacks in your league, he's a third quarterback. And if you're running one quarterback, he's the number two quarterback. So I don't see him as a starter. I don't think he puts up big numbers because he's never put up big numbers.
He ain't got the Yak brothers
So
to throw to right now.
So I don't think
Yeah.
I think he throws less than 4,000 yards this year. I don't see him really throwing more than that. So I see him as a backup, bye-week quarterback, fill-in type of thing. So that's my theory. That's what I think he's at. But I mean, some people might see it different. But I do think Devontae Adams, I don't think he slides as much as people think.
Mhm.
He's still a top 5 receiver.
I think so.
For me.
He's lower in that 5 than he was last year.
Yeah, he's definitely 5. He's 5 in that top 5. But he had 1,500 yards with Derek Carr last year. I'm assuming he can do at least 12 to 13 with Garoppolo, and that's forcing him to football. So, that's
continuing our Patriots West transition. We also have Jacoby Myers on the team, and so Jacoby's not a 1, and I think that was what was, I guess. The reason why he wasn't really kept in New England, but I think he can be a decent enough 2, or maybe even a 3, because if Hunter Renfrow can stay healthy, we can see. But I think Jimmy G will have weapons, but I don't think he has a Kittle's, Debo, Brendan Ayuk kind of combination. We got Devontae Adams, and then there's a huge drop off.
Yes, a huge drop off.
So, yeah.
I mean, you have the running game. I love Josh Jacobs. Strong running game. Defense is not there, so I think y'all gonna be playing from behind quite a bit. Now, if you're thinking about yards and completions and attempts, and if you play in a league where you get points for completions and yards and stuff like that, that may benefit you because I look at it this way: if you played fantasy football back when Kirk Cousins was in Washington, they was always losing. They was down by 14 to 21 points going into the half. So they would have to play catch up by throwing the football.
Yeah.
So Kirk Cousins won a lot of people fantasy championships because he would throw for 300 yards playing from behind. That could be the scenario with Jimmy Garoppolo, but I just don't think he's that good to be doing that personally.
And that's going to be the interesting thing to see how, because he didn't have to win games in San Francisco, but
Yeah,
Las Vegas they're going to require him to
to
win
win
with his
game.
arm. So
Yep.
it'll be cool to see. But that's one offseason move. But let's talk about the offseason move of offseason moves because it hasn't happened yet. Lamar Jackson. What's going on for those, including our producer, who have Lamar Jackson? She has him in our dynasty club. What are you doing with Lamar Jackson this year, other than hoping and praying?
Well, I'm not a big Lamar Jackson fan anyway, as far as fantasy. Now, for for our dynasty league, he probably is a better quarterback in that league than he is in a regular
Yes, he
redraft.
was when he played. Yup,
Yeah,
yup.
he was the number one guy for those
Yeah.
first couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
then it went all off the rails once he got hurt.
I mean, because we count rushing yards and rushing attempts, so things of
Yeah,
that nature. Now, in a redraft league where you have just when you combining just yards and completions, passing yards, he's not that great of an option to be, in my opinion. Now, I mean, he has Odell. Let's just say he sticks around and he keeps Odell. What do you get from Odell is the question. A guy that's coming off two ACL injuries on both knees, by the way.
yeah.
So I don't know what you're getting from him, but I just don't see it. Maybe I'm down on him a little bit, but they did bring in a coach that
Yeah.
is trying to emphasize on passing the ball a little bit more. So I think they're gonna make him earn that big contract. I think he gonna sign a $32 million deal, and I think they're gonna make him earn that by going out, saying, can you throw for 4,000 yards or can you go out?
At least
Because
3,500, right?
mind you, he's never threw for 3,500 yards in his career since he's been playing in the NFL with Baltimore. But on the flip side, Baltimore has never gave him a number one receiver either. So I would say OBJ is probably the best receiver he's had since he's been there.
You're saying Devin Duvernay is not a number one wide receiver. That's
Not even
break,
close.
breaking
Stop.
news here on RJ Fantasy Football
No.
Talk.
Now he's good, but he's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
not number one. If you forget that, he might not be number two. So
Yeah,
I
he's a
think
special teams gadget guy.
I think he I look at it this way. I'm going to Kirk Cousins route. I'm playing for 32 million this year. If I ball out, I play well, and then y'all want to act crazy again, and y'all don't want to sign me, I'll resign the offer sheet again for another
It's like
30,
38
38 million
plus
next year.
million next year.
So you're looking at 70 million. And then again, if I ball out again, if you don't want to pay me, you can franchise me one more time. And that's probably like 40 million, if I'm not 40, 42
It'd be
million.
more than that, yeah. But
Yeah. So over that 3 year span, you've made close to more than 80 million, 80 something $80 million. Then you can leave like Kirk Cousins did and got a 3 year, $80 million guaranteed contract from
mm-hmm.
Minnesota. I'm going that route. Y'all don't have to pay me. I'm
Just
gonna
go
just
on the guarantee as long as he can stay
stay
healthy to
healthy.
get through
Yeah,
it.
that's
But
the key.
here's the thing that's going to be difficult. If you look, the Ravens have the possibility of being really really good when you look at Lamar Jackson playing with Odell Beckham Jr. and Rashad Bateman coming into his own, and you got J.K. Dobbins over there. Here's the thing about all four of those players. They've all
Been hurt.
and
Yep.
missed like majorities of seasons the last couple of years. Mark Andrews even was hurt last year, the tight end that they've got. So the fact that he's gonna be playing potentially off these 1 year contracts, that team does not instill a lot of confidence because you don't know how much of that team you'll be playing with. That offense can be really, really good if everybody's healthy, or it can be really, really stagnant. And we've seen the Ravens be on both of those extremes, which for your fantasy purposes kind of has me trying
Scared.
to stick. I'm scared. Now I do have J.K. Dobbins. We're talking dynasty. I do have J.K. Dobbins and Rashad Bateman actually.
Yeah.
On a dynasty team, and obviously they did not do a lot for me last year, and so it's one of those things. You're just hoping for health, and the Ravens have not had a good run at health at all the last almost 3 years.
They lost 20-something players, I think.
Yeah.
It was some crazy number. Now I got a question for you though. Does it hurt that he doesn't have an agent, or do you think that's because I'm trying to remember a guy that actually went into free agency without an agent before, and I can't think of a player that's done it before. NFL, NBA, none of that did it without an agent. Maybe I'm losing. Maybe I might have to do some research.
I'm sure there's examples. I can't think of who off the top of my head. But in theory, your agent is going to do what you request him to do. And what he wants is guaranteed money. Would he have a better shot at getting the guaranteed money with an agent? I honestly don't think so. I don't think what drove this whole thing, for those that don't know, of course, is Deshaun Watson got a 5-year, $230 million guaranteed, fully guaranteed contract. Mm-hmm. And you got to think rightfully so that Lamar Jackson's like, well, shoot, if he can get fully guaranteed money, I should get it too. And I guess if you throw in the agent, it would be how would the agent talk him down to say this is never going to happen? Yeah. Did he give up on it? Yeah. Or is it going to be an agent that says, hey, I'm going to keep working to try to get it for you? He might find himself in this same boat. But I think the agent would help in as much as I think there's a lot of movement from not just the circle of agents, but also from owners to not allow this thing to happen right now. And so it would be good to have a go-between that an agent could provide for it. But if he still wanted the guaranteed money, I don't think agent or not, it probably wouldn't be happening.
I look at it this way. I think the agent, me personally, I think he needs an agent because I think there's a lot of language between the agent and the owner that's being said that they're not going to tell Lamar. Yeah. And I think that's part of the reason why a lot of teams prefer to talk to the agent over the player agent type thing. I know his stepmom or his mother-in-law, somebody that is like some mother figure to him, is acting as a representative, but she can't get in the room. I don't think she's getting in that room to talk to these teams. And I'm not going to say it's collusion, but
I would say it's collusion, yes.
But I think it's a little bit of that because they seen Deshaun Watson in the situation of he went and got two. But that's not his fault, though. That wasn't Deshaun Watson's fault because Deshaun Watson wasn't supposed to sign with Cleveland. He was supposed to sign with Atlanta, and Cleveland called 24 hours before the deadline on the 11th hour and said, we'll give you this amount of money guaranteed to cover all the legal fees and what you got to pay these, whatever. They did all of that. He didn't ask for that. So, I don't know. I mean, I just think it's crazy, but I do think he needs an agent. Now, I asked this question to somebody, and I'm going to ask to you. If you put the resume of Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson, no name, no face, beside each other, who has the better resume?
Lamar, for me.
So, I guess that's why he's going at that angle of wanting guaranteed money, because he's probably saying, hey, my resume is better than Deshaun Watson's.
Yeah, he's a more talented guy than Deshaun Watson.
But now, if you take away Deshaun Watson's case and everything else, just hypothetically say it's just football. If you had to start a team today, who are you starting, Deshaun Watson or Lamar Jackson?
100% Lamar Jackson.
So,
Lamar Jackson, to me, is a transitional guy who, when healthy, is almost unlike. He's Michael Vick plus.
Of course.
And that kind of talent doesn't just grow on trees. With no offense meant to Deshaun Watson times. Yeah. He's had some really good years, but there was nothing that was sort of generational or transcending about his style of play.
Okay.
There's a few guys like that in the league. It's Lamar Jackson. It's Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of faded at the end, but you might consider a Josh Allen in that kind of group of, hey, these are the guy that can do so much that just there's something you can scheme to work against what they do.
That makes sense.
And so, given that, here's my question though. With this kind of stalemate, if you will, that the Ravens have had between him and Lamar Jackson, how long do you think it is before another quarterback? Because no other position is going to make this happen. But for those top quarterbacks, because you got Joe Burrow up there, who's working for his contract extension right now. Do you think there's a guy that comes in and says, "Hey, I'm going to continue the fight where Lamar Jackson maybe left off and see if we can get this guaranteed money"?
I don't think so, but I had a discussion with somebody about, and I might get some flack for this, but what has Justin Herbert did
so far
in the first 3 years of his career that Lamar hasn't done to earn this money? So just say hypothetically, Justin Herbert contract comes up. He didn't make the playoffs the first 2 years. He got in the third year, didn't look well.
No.
Year come up, he doesn't make the playoffs this year, but he wants guaranteed money. I want to guarantee, not fully, but I want $200 million of the $230 guaranteed. Do they say, okay, Justin, we're going to give you this $200 million guaranteed, but you got to earn the other $30 million and whatever? How does that look for the league to say, okay, well, Lamar has achieved more than Justin Herbert. Lamar has did this more. He's won the MVP of the league, blah, 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 blah. Now, how does that look for you? How does that look up for you?
That's a lot of guaranteed money.
But I'm just saying, think about
it. I would be surprised if anyone got near that again. I think it would be bad because you can't really justify Justin Herbert getting that kind of, because I think my guess is if the Ravens had come to Lamar Jackson with something on around $200 million guaranteed, he might have actually signed by now.
That's true. I can agree with that.
I would think.
Yes.
And so if with his, really weak resume, someone giving Justin Herbert that kind of money, I would be sorry. If Joe Burrow and his because they show the projections of what Joe Burrow's contract might be, and that's I think they said maybe like 180 guaranteed.
Okay.
I think that's probably the high bar right now.
But I'm putting.
I would put Justin Herbert below that.
I'm putting Barrow. So if we're classing contracts, so we're putting contracts in. I'm putting Mahomes and Justin Barrow in a different class as far as contract. They're in the same class, and then you have everybody else. Yeah. Because for me, Joe Burrow deserves that money because Joe Burrow has been there.
Definitely below there.
Yes, he's below.
Joe Burrow was in the Super Bowl.
That's what I'm saying. Right. So my thing is, Josh Allen deserves more money than Justin Herbert.
Yeah, definitely.
So if you think about it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, hasn't Lamar made a AFC Championship game or got close to it?
Yeah, I don't think they made it to the AFC champ because the big knock on Lamar was he couldn't win in the playoffs, and they finally won in the playoffs, but I don't think they made it quite as far as the championship game.
So he has
out of the division game.
So he made it to the division game. Okay.
Yeah, we'll have our producer run the fact check that to see how far they got.
But again, not trying to compare.
But Lamar was MVP of the league, and we know that one. Yeah. So Herbert ain't done that yet.
So again, when Justin Herbert contracts come up, even somebody like a Jalen Hurts, does Jalen Hurts, after what he did last year, does he get that amount? Say he wants $190 million guaranteed. Does
He
he
might be
get
able to
that
get that
money?
because his contract will be coming up
So
very soon.
so who's getting more money? Will it be just Jalen Hurts or Barrow? I mean, I'm sorry, or Herbert or Lamar Jackson? Who do you think in your mind deserves that guaranteed money? Then,
If that's the list, I would put Jalen Hurts and Joe Barrow at the top because they've
of course.
they've both gotten their teams to Super Bowls and they've been the main reason for it.
Okay.
Uh, Lamar Jackson would be underneath that. I don't think. If well, let's go to the very very top. And by the way, welcome Keisha to the show. Welcome Keith. Going in and no, I am not taking Lamar Jackson as my fifth pick
No, me
in the
either.
fantasy draft. Just to clear that up before we
I know somebody
go
that will,
further.
though. I know somebody that will.
Before we go much further with this, I want to answer that question. That's a solid no for me.
No, it's
But
no for me too.
back to your point, I think Lamar Jackson is definitely beneath those who's. But going to the very top, who deserves $200 guaranteed $1 million?
Obviously, Mahomes.
It's Patrick Mahomes, and there
Yes,
is nobody
I mean-
else. Not Deshaun Watson. For me, is even below Justin Herbert and what he's actually accomplished in the NFL. But if Patrick Mahomes isn't getting $200 million guaranteed, there isn't a player in the league that deserves that kind of money.
Well,
And everyone else falls below, and below
okay.
that.
Now, because I had a comment again, just thinking about it, because you got to look at this. You got to look at it this way. Daniel Jones got $40 million guaranteed. Let's just keep it there for a minute.
Abject foolishness.
So
Yes,
Daniel Jones
I have
got,
that one written as one of my off-season moves to discuss. But
So-
continue with it.
he got $40 million guaranteed. Is that because he had an agent, or is that
It's because the
because
Giants are idiots.
okay?
That's,
All right,
that's the only thing that
Because
makes sense for that.
I'm trying to
that
understand.
is insane to me that he
I'm
got
trying
that
to-
kind of money.
Because I'm trying to understand how he walks into this year as the fifth highest paid quarterback in the entire NFL. When if you go on resume for resume, his resume doesn't even stack up to nobody's.
This
I mean-
year, he had a decent season. Not even what I would call a good season. He had a
you.
decent season. And Saquon Barkley is the reason that team was
I said
anything
that too.
that was resembling a playoff team. They made the playoffs a little bit.
Yeah.
And it had halfway nothing to do with Daniel Jones. But
Now-
but he got his big guaranteed money, and Saquon had to get franchise tags, which is it's so sad being a running back in today's NFL. It's the worst position. I would not let my child grow up to be a running back. Like you better learn to catch the ball and be
Or
a wide
something.
receiver. 'Cause
Lord have mercy.
no.
I mean, I'm just looking at it in a sense of where how you got people like Daniel Jones, you got people like Jimmy G, you got people like, even though Jimmy G is making 20-25 million, that's like the going rate for a starting quarterback now.
Yeah, that's
a low
small
tier.
change.
A
Sadly.
small change, yeah. But how do you not at least, and we don't know the talking points of what Lamar has talked to them about. We're not in the room with him, so we don't know. All we know is Lamar wants guaranteed money, and that's what everybody's saying. We don't know how much guaranteed money he wants. We just know he wants guaranteed money. Maybe they're not offering him enough guaranteed money. But for you to come out and say that Daniel Jones got this amount of guaranteed money at $40 million a year, and you telling me Lamar can't get that?
Oh, Lamar would get way more.
Thank
than
you.
that. Yes.
That's all
So-
I'm saying. It's to me, it's crazy. And they say he can earn up to $209 million in that contract. That makes no sense. I mean, from a fantasy standpoint, I'm not going after Lamar, but from a real life standpoint, I feel like he should get his guaranteed money. Not all of it, but he should get enough guaranteed.
Enough.
Yeah.
So you're not going for Lamar Jackson. Definitely not with the fifth pick, I know.
No.
Is there a player on the Ravens that you will be targeting? Odell Beckham Jr., J.K. Dobbins, Rashad Bateman, Mark Andrews?
Mark
probably
Andrews.
at the top of the list. But
Mark Andrews. If I had to go for a list, I'm going Mark Andrews. And everybody else is just like up for grabs at that point. Mark Andrews is probably the only fantasy relevant that I would draft. I know a couple
He's
guys
the only sure shot, I would say, in there.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like, you're kind of hoping.
Yeah. I mean, but to me, in our league, especially the barbershop and all those other leagues, Lamar Jackson is gonna go in that 5, that 6 to 10, that 6 to 12. He's going in that area because obviously you needed a quarterback, but people like drafting Lamar Jackson for some reason. I just don't understand, but they do.
Depending on your league structure, like you mentioned for the Dynasty League.
Yeah, he's perfect for that league.
And then for most of your standard leagues where rushing gets you 1 to 10 and the quarterback gets you 1 for 25, then the Lamar Jackson is usually one of the top quarterbacks taken in around the board. So let's just give him that. But the problem, and we've said it before with Lamar Jackson, is real suspect on whether 2 straight years he's missed at least 5 games.
Did you still want to know about the playoff thing?
Yes,
or
please.
Y'all done with that?
No, throw it. John, you got us?
Yeah, I got it.
All right, producer Cam, what's going on?
So
what happened to our producer?
Oh,
I can't win out. All right, well, just tell us.
Okay, I was about to say I don't know why, but all right. In 2020, the 2020 NFL season, they won the wild card game against the Titans. And then they played their divisional game against Buffalo, and that's the game they lost.
And that's so division game is as far as they've gotten.
Yep. That's as far as they've got in these past, years that he's been quarterback.
Muchas gracias.
No problem.
Okay. So he's gotten further than Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Okay. But that was my argument with somebody that Justin Herbert is, if you go on resume for resume, Justin Herbert was probably, I'm like, no, because Justin Herbert, and you can blame a lot of that on coaching and with the Chargers because the coach wasn't that bright.
You can blame it on coaching. You can blame some of it on injuries last year. But, hey, we got to get some results at some point.
That's true. Speaking of another quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts.
You said quarterback. I thought you were going with another offseason guy. But yeah, let's talk Jalen.
I mean, we can talk Jalen. We can go to the offseason guy. Jalen. I like Jalen. I do like Jalen.
I love Jalen.
Love Jalen. Now, hypothetically, if you were drafting today and you were sitting at 5, is Jalen Hurts a top 5 quarterback in a passing league?
Yeah. I mean, Jalen, to me, if I'm ranking quarterbacks, there's no way you can have Jalen Hurts out of your top 5 for quarterbacks going. Okay. I don't care what your scoring format is. He's going in this at least in the top 5. For me, top 3.
Top 3? Ooh.
I think top 3.
Ooh.
That's
whoa,
right.
Whoa.
I'm about to get about it here.
Whoa. Top 3? I need to know who. I know who your top 1 is.
Top 1 is the same guy as always
been. Yeah.
It's Patrick Mahomes. I'm apologizing to you for the year I took Josh Allen ahead of you, Patrick Mahomes. My bad.
I don't know why you did that.
But
I'm trying to figure out who is 2 though.
But Patrick Mahomes is back at number 1.
Is it Josh Allen at 2?
He needs to be. I'm gonna say number 2. Number 2, I'm going to go Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow.
I like that.
Is going back up on this list. I think he's got a lot to prove, and he's got the right receivers to make things happen. Then I'm going Jalen Hurts, and Josh Allen is after that because Josh Allen completely fell off for me near the end of last year. So he's getting a deduction.
Ooh, Josh Allen at 4. So you telling me from 1 to 4 is settled. I think 5 is more. 5 to 10.
We got a long time before the draft. We got about
no. What I'm saying
April. Is, I got 4 months to change my mind.
No. What I'm saying is this. I agree with you.
Yeah,
I agree. Now, for the Dynasty, he's great. I mean, he's probably top 2 if you're thinking about Dynasty League, especially for our league because of the running aspect. But I love Joe Burrow. I think Joe Burrow, he got picked very late last year and by this guy named Keith last year. And I don't know how he felt. I really didn't. Um, but I like that. I like him at 2. I thought you was gonna go Mahomes, Allen at least at 3.
I I I was debating where he would be, but
Okay,
I'm really big on Joe Burrow this year. Not as
I
big as
like
I am
Joe.
on Mahomes. Mahomes is staying on at the top of my list until the day he retires. But
Okay,
yeah,
I like the list. I ain't mad at that. I think he is gonna get paid this year though. He
yeah.
needs to get
Oh,
paid.
he's
They have a ton of draft picks. I think they can reload on defense.
mm-hmm.
I think they're gonna get that boy, that running back. I think they're gonna snatch up the rookie that's supposed to be nice coming out this year.
You
Uh,
think they get Bajon Robinson from
I think they do.
Texas?
Yeah, I think they do. At 11, if
That
somebody don't go up to get him,
that would be really sad for the NFL. I'm like,
I think they go up and get him though, because I
yeah.
don't think nobody really wants to draft a running back in the first round no
That's
more.
the sad thing. You got used to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they don't want to. I think the last running back that went in the
The
first round
NFL
was
is
Zeke.
going zero running back. So
Zero running backs. So
yeah.
I think the last one to go in the first round was Zeke. No, I'm sorry, not Zeke, but your from Pittsburgh, your boy from Pittsburgh,
Najee.
uh, Najee Harris was the last one to go in the first round. Um, I think they go. I think they grab him in the first round. I think Jalen Hurts comes back because if he would have
Okay.
stayed healthy for those 3 games, he would have threw for 4,000 yards.
Yeah.
So I think Jalen Hurts is a top 5 quarterback,
Yes,
but
indeed.
I think is more of a preference for people. I think people will go Josh Allen over Jalen Hurts
I wouldn't
in
be
most
mad at it,
drafts.
honestly.
I wouldn't
I
matter
wouldn't be mad
either,
at it.
but I think it's Mahomes in a if you're thinking real world draft 1 through 3, I think it's Mahomes, Allen, Barrow, or Mahomes, Barrow, Allen, that 3 in order, and then you go Jalen Hurts at 4. I think that's the way people may go with that. I think they're gonna go those 3 guys before Jalen Hurts. Now 5 is a toss up. 5 to 10 is like
Yeah.
a toss up. It's more really of a personal preference at that point, though.
Would you go? We talked about it before. Would you go like a Justin Herbert there, Lamar Jackson, depending on your league
I
structure?
mean, I'm going Justin Herbert only because I know even with it's a problem with Justin Herbert in the Chargers is their receivers don't stay healthy
Mm-mm.
at all, and you can't depend on them on a weekly basis. So you gotta. Justin Herbert had a lot of down games last year, to where he didn't play well
Yeah,
because of that.
and he
So
was hurt himself last year.
that's
So
true.
yeah,
So he still went for 4,300 yards last year, somewhere around there. So you still have him in that top 5 somewhere. It's just he's not above those
yeah.
4.
Nah,
Can't be above those 4, in my opinion. Now you still go get him because you hope Williams stay healthy. You hope Keenan Allen stay healthy, but we all know that's not going to happen unless they go get a receiver that's going to stay healthy.
well, there's some. We're not going to talk a lot of draft stuff tonight, but the NFL draft is coming up at the end of this month, and
Yes,
there's some wide receivers out there, and I know for one, I'm scoping them.
me too. I
I'm
need
sure
some
the
this year,
Chargers will be as well.
so I definitely need that. So,
Yeah.
what do you have? What other all-season move did you want to talk about?
When you said quarterback, I just knew your mind was going to go straight to the guy that you hate more than anyone else in the NFL. We've been waiting to see a trade with Aaron Rodgers and the Jets
Woo!
forever.
Yes,
I think
forever.
it's been about at least 2 weeks since Aaron Rodgers says that he fully intends to play for the Jets, and we ain't seen no movement on it yet. So my question for you is, what are you doing if you are pursuing a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers or in Green Bay Jordan Love, and then take both teams' respective wide receivers
Well,
outlook for this year?
it's funny you asked about the wide receivers because our our reel that we played earlier to promote the show tonight,
Yeah, we were
that
talking.
was that was part of it.
A little bit intentional, yes.
Yes. So I think Aaron Rodgers going to New York is a bad idea for him.
Okay.
Because he doesn't get well, he's not gonna get the same love that he will get in Green Bay if he plays bad.
Yeah.
because when you go there to New York and they're paying you $50 million to play quarterback, and you decide that you don't want to go to all season training camp to train with the receivers that you have there. B, you don't show up until mandatory training camp. That's another thing. And then if your players, i.e., the receivers, like I always been saying, don't catch the football, then you don't throw it to them no more. Because that was the problem in Green Bay last year.
Yeah.
When those guys dropped the ball, what did he do? He stopped throwing to them. And I said this last year, but everybody thought I was hating on Aaron Rodgers.
You were hating though.
I was not hating. I was stating facts. And again, I'm not trading for Aaron Rodgers if I'm the Jets, because you don't know if he's going to play next year or after next year. Because
but say after, and I think that's part of the holdup
because
is the fact that the Jets want a compensatory pick for the Packers on the premise that Aaron Rodgers might play this 1 year and then retire. So,
and that's the thing. He came out of his dark room, which was 14 by 14, and said I was 90% retired and 10% playing going in, but that flipped to 90% playing and 10% retired. To me, that scares me.
Yeah.
Now for Green Bay, it's all good. Give me them picks. I'm gonna go get something I need. They believe in Jordan Love. They think they got something there. I love it because they're supporting him. So at least they're putting it out there saying Jordan Love is our quarterback. We feel comfortable with him. But on the Jets front, I feel like they dig themselves a hole to where they can't get out now, and they have to deal with it. Because at some point, they should have either backed out and said, you know what, we good, we just can go a different direction. But when you seen all these other quarterbacks going down, going to other teams, it was too late then. You had to kind of dig in with Aaron Rodgers. Now you stuck with him now because either you come back with Zach Wilson or you don't come back at all with nothing.
I don't think coming back with Zach Wilson. Right now they're saying that it's just a matter of time before Aaron Rodgers gets there. He's going to definitely be the quarterback this year. So we'll see how it goes. But how funny is it that, how much Aaron Rodgers' career has tracked that of Brett Favre? Because it started off with those two together. Brett Favre hating on the young Aaron Rodgers. Now we have Aaron Rodgers hating on the young Jordan Love.
Yep.
Getting a trade, getting pushed out to another team. And of all the teams that he's potentially going to, the same team that Brett Favre went to, the Jets, when he left. So the Jets just want all the has-been Packers quarterbacks. Is that the trend we're seeing?
I think it is. Just hope he don't end up in Minnesota a year after that. So, I mean, that's the trend it's going. Right. But to me personally, I don't like nothing about it. I think he's being a diva about the whole situation. I just think it's corny, and they're allowing him to do this, which is the bad part. They're not saying anything to him. They're not saying, hey, you need to kind of hurry up, da-da-da-da. They're not saying anything. They say, oh, just take your time, do what you want to do. Yeah. I think that back page in New York is not going to be comfortable for him. Because when they lose, it's not going to be fun.
Playing in New York versus playing in Green Bay
is totally different.
It's a totally different thing.
Yep.
As long as he can produce. Oh, by the way, look at it. The Bulls just won.
Oh, my gosh. We in the plaplayoffs? Let's go.
They had the comeback of comebacks because I had pretty much given up hope. I had the game planned on my phone just to see how it ended. So the Bulls are the first 10th seed to win the play-in game. So congratulations, the Jersey word, baby. What was that?
Okay.
So as long as they produce, I think Aaron Rodgers will be fine. And I will say this. The Jets are stacking up with wide receivers there, aren't they? Because they got they bought Alan Lazard, so someone
that's
he's already
way too much money.
We had wasn't it?
Too much money.
I saw that. That's like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
For a guy who also can't stay healthy.
Thank you.
You got Garrett Wilson, Rookie of the Year, coming in. They brought in McCole Hardman with that crew, and I think Corey Davis is still there. So he's gonna have better wide receiver talent than he had last year with the Packers.
Well, let me ask you this: going into this year fantasy wise, if you had to make a prediction on numbers for Aaron Rodgers, because we all know, I told you last year, no
It was.
Devontae Adams, he gonna throw for less than 4,000 yards, and he threw for 3,200. Now going into this year, if you saying it's a better receiving core, which on paper it looks like it.
Yeah.
So let's say that. Is he what is he doing?
I don't think
What is
we're
he
gonna.
doing?
I still don't think we see MVP Aaron
Okay.
Rodgers. At best, I would be happy. And here's another thing about it: that this team they put together doesn't necessarily need Aaron Rodgers to be MVP Aaron Rodgers. They were pretty good with a terrible Zach Wilson / Mike White / Joe
Mike White was-
Flacco
Yeah,
last year, right?
that's true.
And so if Aaron Rodgers could be in the neighborhood of like, hey, welcome Shaq to the show. Welcome back to you, our third man who went AWOL on us. We need you back. we
Definitely went AWOL.
We need somebody to bring the Mike Evans
Yes. Oh gosh.
insight on a
Do we
weekly
need that?
basis. Why not? Why not?
Okay.
Especially with Baker Mayfield. I actually do want to have Shaq there to talk Baker
Oh,
Mayfield.
that would be a lovely
But-
conversation. We need your own Shaq
We
in
need
about
you,
2-3
Shaq.
weeks. Come on.
But if Aaron Rodgers can be in like the 30, I would say 3,500 plus or minus
Okay.
200 yard range, and
Okay.
he can get them somewhere in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 touchdowns. I think that'd be a success because they have a defense there
Okay.
that can win games. They've got something to at least challenge. Now that AFC East, that's a division.
It's not even the AFC
that's-
East. It's more about the AFC in itself.
in itself, yeah.
I think him going there,
Why?
I don't think getting him changes their, because they still got to get through Buffalo.
They still got to get through Buffalo, which
They still got to get through Kansas City. I'm just saying in the AFC
the
itself.
AFC is stacked.
It's Cincinnati. It's too much. It's too much that they have to get through in order for them to be successful. I'm just afraid when he get there,
Mhm.
if he plays bad, it's like it's not the same love, because when he played bad in Green Bay, you can't go up there and say relax. You know what I mean? But like when you go to New York, you can't say just relax. You can't do that.
Hold up, I gotta cut you off.
I seen that.
Look,
don't
hate
edit.
Justin. Congratulations to your Lakers for making the play-in game. And I was gonna, but I don't appreciate this talk of the Yankees because we don't allow.
He comes in with this
Yankee-
stuff.
We don't allow Yankee talk.
I just don't.
But,
don't get it.
Where was I? Doggone it.
He said A-Rod
Oh,
getting into the
A-Rod. No,
playoffs.
wait. No, he talking. Okay, never mind.
He's talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just went back. He talking. He went. I had to bring him out for a second. I was just expecting him to say something about the Yankees. I just noticed now he went with the back. Well, I'm glad we do have Justin though, because he's the resident Jets fan.
Yes.
So he should be quite happy with what we've talked in previous shows, that they are building something really nice. And no Shaq, I would not be easy on the Yankee hate. It's the Red Sox all day. Not gonna happen this year. But what's really happening is those Rays looking like unbeatable. But it's early in the season, so I'm gonna let that go for the moment. But yes, congratulations, your Lakers made it, and they're gonna get knocked out by Memphis. So
yes, I
whatever.
can't wait.
And honestly, the Bulls did get lucky because at the top of the show, we talked about the playing game is a joke to begin with.
Yeah.
So if you're the 10th seed, you don't even deserve to be in the playoffs. So I fully expect the Bulls to be knocked out very early. I'm just happy that they won tonight because it didn't look
all
like
that
that
matters.
was going to happen. That's the way the game started.
So
back to football.
So back to what? So
Rise for the judge.
I mean, Justin, as far as, and we need your take on this, Justin, as far as you being a Jets fan, we need your real opinion on Aaron Rodgers, not the one you want to save face and say y'all can win games, because I think they're not. It's just that AFC is just too hard for them to. It's too hard. I don't think they get, and if they get in, they're like a 7 seed, if that. lucky to get in. Aaron Rodgers barely, because I don't see Aaron Rodgers throwing for 4,000 yards
Yeah,
in New
I
York.
think that
10
time is done.
wins. Wow. 10 wins?
I can
Did
see
he
10.
10 wins where?
Hey,
Where?
the 17 games. I can see
10
it
wins
happen.
where though? They're not beating Buffalo twice.
Okay, they don't have to beat them twice.
I
I
mean,
don't think there's a team with Aaron Rodgers there and the way they've revamped the offense on an already good defense. I can see them beating any team in the AFC East at least once. At least once.
he said the floor is 7
So
seed. I can see
yeah,
7 seed.
yeah,
Okay.
they're not taking over the AFC. That's for certain.
No. I
Welcome
mean,
Nita to the show also. I see y'all coming in. All the Yankees fan came in right at the end.
yeah.
Pox upon you all, but
I mean, I just don't. I'm like, come on, man. Like seriously. Uh, I don't know about that. I don't know, man. I got my differences on it. I got to see it for myself if he's going to be successful in a Jets uniform. I think the Jets don't want to give up too much for him
yeah,
because they're going to have to
because
give up a
year.
one.
You're
It's
practically doing a 1 year deal with him,
basically,
and that's similar to when it was Brett Favre there. It was a short term thing. I think Brett Favre and they're doing 2 seasons, and so I don't know. Yeah, Shaq also says 10 wins. I think that they like just the defense is there, and they're kind of retooling an offense. They just needed a competent person at quarterback, and I can totally see that Jets team definitely making the playoffs.
so you don't see them splitting 2 games against
They
at
can
least splitting the game against with New England. I
New
mean,
England. No.
oh, I mean, I'm just asking because I just don't. 10 wins, I can see 9 wins, but I don't see 10. That's a stretch for
New
me.
England, I think, is going to be a dumpster fire this year. Um, Tampa, I mean, not Tampa Bay. I mean, Miami is all going to depend on, I think, the health of Tua going in. So for me, the only team in that division adding Aaron Rodgers that gives them competition is the Bills, and they can beat the Bills.
I agree with you, Justin. The media gonna run him away. I think because when they don't win, you gotta think about it. When you acquire somebody making that amount of money to play quarterback and you don't win at least a division or a playoff
Yeah,
game, they're gonna expect more from you because you're making so much.
yeah,
So, to me, I don't know if it's a good idea. I would have tried to make it work. At least in Green Bay that you beloved there. They're not going to run you away. All you got to do was just
they
show
are.
up.
I think they are running him away.
I mean, they are, but
I think they want to get started with the Jordan Love era because
they have no choice, though.
His rookie contract is
It's
ending.
about to be over.
Exactly. They got to find out what they've got with him.
I mean, they do, and they did. Speaking of Jordan Love, do you
Hey,
think
hold
they
up
have?
for a sec. See, Shaq, why can't we? That's why you're not coming back as the third. You're doing voted to the fourth. Why you got to talk bad about the AFC West? Or unless you're saying you're talking good about the AFC West.
No, he said they played the NFC.
He said
they played
the
the
NFC East and the AFC West.
Yeah.
I think that's difficult. So maybe because earlier he was saying he could see them winning 10, and then
I don't see them win. Think about this. I don't see them winning 10 games. If they play the AFC West, which is the Chiefs, Oakland. I'm sorry, Vegas.
No, Oakland's not a problem. Yeah. Well,
I'm
Vegas,
just saying. Just think,
either way, it's not a problem.
Yeah, so you think they beating Denver?
Yes.
You see them beat? Okay. Even with the situation, new coach, blah blah blah. Okay.
It's still Russell Wilson, right?
NFC East.
The NFC East, honestly, is the problem in the NFC East for me is for real the Eagles. I don't really have a lot of confidence in the Giants and Danny Dimes. Washington, we got to see what they're going to be.
Okay.
The Cowboys can be a challenge depending on the time. But I think that Jets team can be something, and we've said it before, that Jets team can be really special.
Okay.
And so if Aaron Rodgers can be not MVP Aaron Rodgers, but better than Zach Wilson.
That's not. That's not hard.
Well, doesn't take a lot.
That's not. That doesn't take a lot now.
I think that's a team that can win a lot of games. Okay. Against, I would say there's not a team they can't realistically beat given the right situation. Not saying they will beat and run through everybody, but that's a team that you can line up with, and you're gonna give anybody a challenge.
Okay.
And that's the best you can hope for.
That's all you can hope for. But I still don't. I'm saying 7 seed, barely making the playoffs. I don't see. It's just. I think I say this. Green Bay has a better chance of winning the division than the Jets have a better chance of winning the division this year coming up.
Vikings. I disagree. I'm going to go out and disagree right now because the Vikings, despite their up and downness of last year, are still going to be something to deal with. But I really like what's that team called? The Lions. I think they built off of last year.
Okay,
and I think the Lions can be better than the Packers.
Well, let's say this. I want to get on that too. They've been saying that Jared Goff, they could think about drafting a quarterback in Detroit for Jared Goff. I think Jared Goff had a pretty good year last year.
He did.
To be honest with you.
He had a great year last year.
He had a great year. Now,
if you lucked up and grabbed him late in fantasy football, much like Geno Smith, you was living the dream last year.
I mean, I don't know. I like Jared Goff this year for some reason. I think with the weapons they got coming back, I think with the 2 running backs, they got a halfway decent defense. I ain't gonna say they're great. I ain't even say they're good. They just halfway decent. I think, and he's familiar. I'm not saying Jared Goff gonna blow the world up, but Jared Goff played pretty well last year.
Mm-hmm.
So he did struggle outside.
Now,
that's his biggest problem.
I will say, we saw Jared Goff be really good one year in the Rams and completely fall off a cliff the very next year. So, it's Jared Goff, so he can always just get terrible really quickly.
That happens when the coach don't believe in you, when he stops believing in you. And we see what happens with that. But, that's a whole different story. Yeah. But I think Goff, he's going to play well. And I think if you're saying winning the division, I think Detroit wins the division next year over Minnesota. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Kirk Cousins, I think they want to get rid of Kirk Cousins, to be personally honest with you.
Yeah.
They don't want him there. They feel like he hasn't done enough, and they pay him a ton of money over the last 3-4 years, and he hasn't won anything.
Yeah.
So they saying they really want to trade him because he asked for an extension and they told him no.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think they want him there. To be honest with you, I think they want to start over.
But he has all the icy chains.
I mean, that don't mean that when you ain't winning. So right? I mean, what that mean?
Hey, the deal is Kirk Cousins is good until something better comes along, and so the question is, what's going to be the better coming along? Because I think you're going to struggle to try to really find a good trade for Kirk Cousins.
I don't know how much guaranteed money he got left, but I think he got 1 year left, and then he's a free agent. So basically, you can trade him this year, and he can walk into free agency next year with no ties to nobody, unless he just goes out and play with. He just don't show up. He's like Jared Goff in a sense.
Kirk Cousins is a limited guy. He's been his whole career in the NFL, and then you get what you get. Honestly, he's a slight step above Jimmy Garoppolo. It's not. Hey, there's a reason that Amari Cooper called Dak Prescott the Black Kirk Cousins. It's meant as an insult. Is you're only so good as the talent around you, and Kirk Cousins isn't great, and how many of his Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson have all very emphatically told Kirk Cousins to play better. So it's no secret he's not that good, but he can win you games, and so I think right now is a situation that they're gonna have to roll with him until if they want to address it in a in the draft. Probably not this year. If they can try to work some sort of trade in the next year, maybe. But
Maybe. I
but
mean,
what?
it's just.
But right now, you are what you are. The Vikings are going to be as good as Justin Jefferson and Dalvin Cook can get them to be.
I think now I'm hearing they may want to part ways with Dalvin Cook because they
Yeah.
did sign. I can't think of the backup running back's name, but they signed
Oh
him
yeah.
to a 2-year deal. So I think they want to part ways with him at some point because of injury. Because
Alexander
they can't
Madison.
say, yeah, Madison signed a 2-year deal.
Yeah.
But I truly think Kirk Cousins, and I wouldn't be surprised if they traded him on draft night for something, which would they want to move up. Now
I
another
say that
one,
if they make, depending on what they do with that trade, I think they automatically are eliminated from winning the division. They instantly, for me, go below the Detroit Lions on that one.
yeah. Um, I mean, I don't know. Another one I want to talk about. The Titans want to move up in the draft. Does that mean they're getting rid of Tannehill, or what do you see? Because Tannehill doesn't have any guaranteed
Yeah.
money um, this year. He's basically playing with no guaranteed money. If they move up to 3, what are you doing with Tannehill? Like it's you.
I get rid of Tannehill because I think it's been evident that Tannehill's not that good.
Okay.
And by the way, I see. Speaking of moving, Nita's mentioned the Falcons with Lamar Jackson. Yeah, that ain't gonna happen. I thought that was gonna be the move earlier,
Do you
but
Speaking of that, do you really think they go into the season with uh with Desmond Riddle
with Ritter,
as they with a quarterback?
apparently so.
Oh, that is terrible.
Apparently so.
Not even, bro.
Uh,
I
yo,
can't believe that. You can't. I mean, I get it because you
you,
drafted him last year and you
yeah.
want to see what you got, but
I think they see what they got. Going back to Tennessee, they kind of saw what they got with Malik Willis, and that's
oh
why
yeah,
they might
they
be moving up to the third
yeah
spot. Now, to your question though, the first 2 picks in a lot of people's minds are gonna be Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud. Put them in whichever order you
yeah.
want to.
But there's a
Um,
drop. It's a drop
so
off
so
after that,
then
though, right?
after that, if the Titans are gonna move up for quarterback, do you go Anthony Richardson knowing that
No,
he's not going to be playing? He's even more of a raw project than probably Malik Willis is, where you're going to have another player on your roster that you really can't do much with. Do you skip and go to someone like Levis that people are saying could be, but
no.
he's also a raw talent. Like after C.J. Stroud, every quarterback in the draft is, to me, too raw to put out in their first year. Like maybe you can bring them on at the second half of the season for
Yeah,
these, and even for that, a lot of these guys, I just don't see it happening. So
I don't either. I
they can
mean,
move up to the third, but I don't think that puts them in a better position than they are today.
I
What about
mean,
you?
I think they would if they move up to the third. They plan on moving off from Tannehill at some point.
Well, they have
If
to.
I mean, they have to if they're going to invest that much into another because you got 30. I think he's old. Well, not old, but there's no guaranteed money, but he's playing on like a
He's playing right.
$35 million deal. But you're telling me you're going to get another rookie with Malik Willis there already,
Yeah.
and you're trying to get rid of him. So one of those guys got to go. You're not going to get rid of Malik Willis just because he's on a rookie deal. And I really think, like I've been saying since last year, the end of last year, I think they're going to move him to a skill position because he's probably better at a skill position like a slot receiver or something like that. But I think they probably use him more like that, of a nature like that. But I think with the 49ers connection,
Mm-hmm.
with the new GM coming
Oh,
from San
I see where you're
Francisco,
going. Okay.
I think if they don't move up from the 11th spot, they move up to get Trey Lance. I think that's where they go, me personally. And that's a possible play for them. But
That'd be an interesting play. I'll say that. Um, going back to Nita's comment about the Falcons blowing their chance with Lamar, I think the Titans. It's still back. Going back to that was the first offseason story we talked. Well, actually, no, you wanted to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, but the first legitimate offseason move we talked about was Lamar Jackson. And for me, guaranteed money or not, it just blows my mind that teams like the Falcons, who, like you said, have Desmond Ritter, and the Titans, who have Tannehill, Malik Willis, whatever. I think the quarterback market is highly overpriced. But if the Cleveland's gonna give $230 million for Deshaun Watson, I would have thrown $200 million at Lamar Jackson quickly if I'm the Falcons or I'm the Titans, because those teams can't possibly think they're going into this year with their current quarterback situations and getting any wins.
Well, let me ask you this: do you think the Falcons owner is saying, "I've seen this movie before"? With Michael Vick. Well, now we all love Michael Vick because Michael Vick was Michael Vick in Atlanta. But is he saying, I've seen this movie before and I haven't won anything with this movie before? Now, is that what he's saying? Because that could be the thing of where
possibly
what Michael Vick did do is put people in the stands.
And I was about to say, like, hey,
he did put people in the stands.
They maybe didn't win the Super Bowl, but they had the name of. They had a whole bunch of success.
The town was on fire. I guess
Ryan did get them to a Super Bowl as well and lost.
Yeah.
But, I mean.
Is that the case that he's saying, look, we've seen this movie before and I don't want to.
He's going to sell some tickets.
That's true. Else. Now, I think that's part of the problem. I think he should be. Yeah. I think he should be on. He should have got Lamar Jackson. Yeah. But I think he's looking at it like, we've seen this movie. I ain't win.
It was a good movie, though.
I mean, it was a good movie, but I ain't win an Oscar. I ain't win a, I ain't win a big award. So I think he's looking at it like that.
Look, I see you with the Marvel T-shirt on. Endgame didn't win an Oscar, but doggone it, they outsold all the Oscar movies combined. So hey,
I mean that's true. But that. if you're looking at it that way, that's what he's probably thinking. I think he should have got Lamar.
Yeah.
Me personally, 100%. You go get Lamar. Lamar's available. You go. It's a lot of teams that could have used Lamar. New England could have used Lamar. Atlanta, Tennessee. I mean, that's a bunch of teams that could have used Lamar. But I think they're afraid of going after that because you have to pay him $50-40 million to a year. Plus, you got to give up 2 first-round picks just to get him.
I think that 2
first-round
picks.
I think that scared him away. That 2 first round scared him away.
But let me say this, and I see Nick said that the people there are high on Ritter. I think they're wrong because Ritter is just Mariota light.
Very much.
We saw that movie last year. Talk about bad movies. But cool. If that's what they like, they can go with it. Dang it, I forgot my other point. What were we talking about? We were talking about
Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson, yeah.
And the money that's out there, I just think people need to pay the man, and you get what you get because I think that and this is what I was alluding to earlier in the show, that guaranteed quarterback money is coming. It's coming down the pipeline at some point. Just even though the Browns were the first idiots to do it, there would be others that follow because that's the way the league is.
But hold up. What people don't realize is this, bro. And you can vouch for this. Even though it wasn't as much money, but Kirk Cousins had the first guaranteed contract. He had the
short
first
3-year,
$80 million. It was guaranteed, fully guaranteed contract. So people keep saying that Deshaun had it. Yes, it's more money, of course, but Kirk Cousins had the first ever guaranteed contract in the NFL, period, point blank. Let's put it out there. It was a 3-year, $80 million from the Minnesota Vikings. And then they turned around and gave him another $30 million right after that, guaranteed. So he is the first one to get a guaranteed contract, hands down. So, yes, Deshaun got way more money.
Yeah.
But again, it's going to come to that because these guys want guaranteed money. it is what it is.
Yeah.
Ain't nothing you can do about it. It's coming. The league don't want it, but the league also make $1 billion a year.
10 to 12 billion, I think, is what.
Yes, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
They make a lot. They make a lot.
Yeah. So that $30 million or $40 million you want to guarantee, that $200 million that Deshaun Watson is getting, Deshaun Watson probably gonna put another 100, 200, 300, $400 million in the owner's pocket just alone by selling jerseys.
Yeah, and
come on, man.
For certain teams, you know you're bad. And especially the Falcons fit this role. They're going to be terrible no matter what they do. You could at least put together a product people want to see, and that's
all I'm saying.
Just from and I see OBJ about to be solid.
Solid hurt, but okay.
And I bring his that comment up for just one purpose. Sometimes you make a move that's not business smart on face value because you look long term at what you can do with it. I think Lamar Jackson made sense for the Falcons. Even if they don't get a championship, they're going to have at least a good 5 to 7 year period where they're going to have lights out fans, and you do what you do for the big picture. Yeah. How does that relate to Odell Beckham Jr.? Apparently, he and Lamar Jackson are good friends, and so they super overpaid Odell Beckham Jr. $15 million guaranteed, potentially $18 million for one reason and one reason only, to entice Lamar Jackson to sign his franchise tag. And so I think they are crazy to give Odell Beckham Jr. that much money. But if that's the thing that gets Lamar Jackson to sign his franchise tag, $15 million well spent.
Yeah. I mean, so, I agree with you.
I don't know why Titans or Lamar Jackson or Atlanta doesn't see that. Hey, give the man $200 million. It's well spent in as much as you're going to have that quarterback. You don't have to worry about, like, for at least the foreseeable future. And he's just electrifying. Even if he's going to miss 3 or 4 games every once in a while, when he plays, Lamar Jackson is lights out. Look at the Ravens' record with him versus without him. It's no question he's worth the money. Well, no one's worth that kind of money, in my opinion. But if someone's going to be worth that money, he's the kind of player that's worth the money.
So speaking of that division, speaking of that Atlanta division, Derek Carr going to New Orleans. What is your take from it?
Trying to hurt my heart?
I mean, I'm just asking the question.
Talking Jimmy Garoppolo, knowing.
I mean, I gotta ask the question.
And then you're gonna talk about the guy who's gone from us. Derek Carr. I think that division's terrible.
Okay.
The Panthers are making some interesting moves, but they're only going to be able to be as good as whoever the quarterback is going to be, right?
Yeah.
And so Tampa Bay picked up Baker Mayfield, so they're pretty much saying we're going to be terrible as well. I feel bad for Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Me too.
That is one heck of a step down from Tom Brady,
Jeez.
Maybe the greatest to play the game, to Baker Mayfield. The Falcons are a crap show, and that leads the Saints. Like, Derek Carr and Olave and a half broke up Michael Thomas, maybe.
Hopefully he stay healthy.
Alvin Kamara, who might not play a whole lot. But, hey, they got Jamal Williams, and I think that's an interesting pickup going for that team. So I think the AFC South, the NFC South has basically laid out the red carpet and said, Saints, this is yours to have.
Well, I think Kamara is not going to play this year. I think he's going to miss some game. I think he's going to miss a bunch of games. I think he's going to
miss a considerable amount of
games. Yeah. I think because the video don't lie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he's going to get reprimanded somehow. At some point of the season, he's going to get suspended 8, 9, 10 games maybe. That's why they brung in Jamal Williams.
That's why you got Jamal Williams, exactly.
Yeah. So Mike Williams, Michael Thomas, they said Michael Thomas actually recruited Derek Carr to come there.
Yeah.
Now, that's telling me he wants to stay there and play, and he wants to be a contributor if he can stay healthy.
Yeah.
But let's not forget the first 3 games, he was really good, the first 3 games before he got hurt, and he just stayed hurt.
Yeah.
So, now one thing you do know about Derek Carr is he will force the football to 1 or 2 receivers. So I think Olave is going to have a great year.
Yeah, look, do you see what Olave did with Andy Dalton of
Oh
all
my
people?
gosh.
So I'm like,
That's
okay,
why Olave, in my
yeah,
opinion, is a top 5 to 7 receiver this year, hands down. He probably high. It's probably higher than that in some people's mind. But I think he's going to get force fed the ball so much that
I
I
think,
think he's
yeah,
gonna put up ridiculous numbers. I think Michael Thomas may be average wide receiver
health
two
is the only question. Yeah,
when healthy. I like Derek Carr, to
I
be
love
honest
Derek
with you.
Carr.
I think he takes a slide back because the year before he had a great year. Um, with that previous year where he almost threw for 5,000 yards, and then coming into last year, he was drafted pretty high. So I think a lot of people are gonna take a step back because
Oh
of
yeah,
that.
yes.
Well, you didn't do it last year.
Look, hey, some people thought he was going to be an MVP candidate, so
Yeah, we're not gonna point no elbows on that one, but
they're
okay.
probably going to
Yeah,
lower their expectations a little bit this year, whoever those people may be.
yeah.
Welcome, Captain Braces, to the show. But
So I think
yeah,
he's a if you're in a 2 quarterback league, I think he's a number 2. I don't think he's a 1, but I think he's a 2.
yeah,
Going in, he got to prove he might be an upside 1 in my opinion. But I like him going to New Orleans.
yeah. I mean,
In my opinion, I think it's a good move for him. He gets the money, he gets the deal that he want. He's gonna be the starting quarterback. He ain't got to look over his back.
he's with a
Jump.
coach that he already knows.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I think it's a good deal. I think it's a good move for him, personally. So what else you got, man? You got anything
So
else?
you wanted to start with throwing a dagger in my heart
Did you want to throw a dagger at me?
with
Go
the
throw
Jim
it.
Garoppolo. Then you want to end with another dagger.
You know what?
but
I
yeah,
can take
that's.
daggers.
I think we hit all the main all season moves. Hey, thanks everybody that's been a part of the show with your comments and your questions. And hey, if you've got more, feel free to hit us up with our social media. Put them in the chat, and we'll get back with you. We will be back in about 2 weeks.
2 weeks,
Let's
yeah.
say right before the NFL draft, and
Yeah.
we're going to be talking about all that goings on and what the NFL players are doing, because we're back in football season, man.
We back, man. We sorry we gave y'all short notice. This morning we gave y'all some short, but hey, we're back. You know, when you see us up there pop up on the screen, tell your friend, to tell a friend. We back. We need to reach
Yeah.
1,000 subscribers, man. We got.
Hey, why
Let's get
not?
there.
Hit
Let's
that
get
like,
there.
hit that subscribe, tell your friends to do it too.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, indeed. So, all right.
All right.
We good. Peace out, everybody. Again, thanks for being part of the show. Love you all. And 2 weeks. Let's do it
2
again.
weeks. All right.
Peace.